Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Vinoshipper platform tour. I am Melissa, and I am joined by Tara Jane and Adrian, also from Vinoshipper.
Hey team.
So today, we're going to just go over kind of the platform as a whole, like a general overview. We'll show a couple tips and tricks. And if you have any questions during this webinar, if you go to the bottom of your Zoom screen, you'll see there's a button that says chat. You can go ahead and enter any questions that you have into the chat, and Adrian will kind of monitor and moderate the questions and stop us as we go with any questions that you might have. So I'll wait just a sec in case people are still coming in, but then we will start with this kind of the account profile page. I see somebody raised their hand, so I'll just mention if you just put in your question into the chat. So at the bottom of your Zoom screen, there's a button that says chat, and you can type in your question there. Um, so when you first log into your Vinoshipper profile, you will kind of land on your account dashboard or profile page. So um, I'm actually not on the dashboard. Am I logged in? Yeah. So anyway, on this profile page here, you can kind of review the information that you've set up with your account. So you'll have your logo, um, your account ID, whether or not you allow pickup orders or local delivery. Anytime you see a blue button, like right here, we have this blue button, that means you can edit things. So if you have something on your profile that you're not happy with the way it's showing up, you can go ahead and click an edit button and edit things from there. And this large button here, so your addresses that you have are very important in Vinoshipper, especially your ship from address or your pickup address. So if you notice that these addresses aren't the way you want them, you're going to go ahead and go on this main blue button here, and that'll bring you to the page where you can edit these information. So you could go ahead and change your address and then click submit, and it'll save the changes that you've made. Let me hit cancel so I can back out of that. And then now you'll see that I got put to my dashboard page. And so this is a nice snapshot of your business. So any sales that maybe you've done today, the month to date, year to date, you can see those in a chart here. And then the last payment is actually when we've paid you last. So if you have already signed up for Stripe Connect, then you get paid about every 3 days after a transaction. If you have not yet done the Stripe Connect, then you get paid twice a month, which is the 15th and the 30th, I believe.
Mhm.
Um, I do think it's great to do the Stripe Connect. It doesn't cost you anything. You can go ahead and go again to the account and then profile, and you can go ahead and click here and connect to the Stripe Connect. So I'll just ask you your ACH information and kind of confirm your banking, and that's how that works. But so again, this is just sort of a general information page, and then that dashboard has um, more information about like your sales.
I
But
think
we're gonna, oh, go
something
ahead.
else to point out, if you scroll all the way down
Mhm.
on this one, is your permits. And I think just if you do have any permits where you carry your own license, just make sure that they're set under your permits because the pricing is different based on if you are shipping on your permit or on a Vinoshipper permit. And you can always look to make sure that that's set up correctly right there.
Yeah. And if not, you can email us at customer service and we can get that permit entered for you.
Melissa,
Um,
before we continue, would you mind just making sure that the chat is enabled for everyone? If you go to the chat option, there should be three little dots, and Terjane, you might be able to do this as well as the co-host.
Analysts can chat, attendees can chat with everyone. Oh, there we go.
Turned on. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that would be helpful, right? If we had that
Thank you for pointing that out, Cassandra. Much appreciated.
on. All righty. So from here, I think it'd be nice maybe to go to the account tab. So, um, if we start looking at the account tab, notifications, this is something that's important for you. So, this is where you can set who will get notifications based on various things. So your customer service, you can only have one email address for that, and that's to kind of keep it so it's not going to too many people. But I would set that up to be like whoever the main person is that kind of manages your account. So if that's like the tasting room manager or something. But some of the other options, you can add more than one email address. So club updates, if you have somebody specific that runs your wine club or your cider club, maybe you want them to specifically get those emails. Uh, New orders received. If you have, a specific person that does your shipping, maybe you want that to go straight to them. Again, with like orders canceled, order modification. So this is going to depend on kind of how your business is structured. It might be the same person for everything or different people for, everything. So I would just go through that and make sure you have these set the way you want them. Um, from there, another thing that's good to start with in the beginning is email templates. So, um, depending on if you have a club set up, you'll be able to see club emails. But if you don't yet have a club set up, you're kind of just going to see this general email. And this order confirmation email. So this will be an email that gets triggered when a customer purchases from you, from the shopping cart or the place an order function. And you can edit this a little bit. Um, we have kind of all the built-in information, but anytime you see a blue box like this, that means you can edit it. So you could go ahead and change your greeting to be something that maybe matches the language of your business. Thank you for your order is the default, but you could put, I don't know, something cute that maybe matches like your branding. Um, but otherwise, this is all built into the system. This is a nice thing to just review so that you can see what your customer is getting when they place an order from you. And it's got some kind of nice information about shipping too, like saying that it takes up to 3 business days to process before they ship. And instances of extreme weather, shipment may be delayed. These are kind of nice things to give you a buffer if a customer is like, I ordered and where's my shipment yet? And you're like, well, it's 100 degrees. So yeah.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, especially this time of year. So I think it's just nice to go through the email templates. And then if you do have a club set up, or maybe you have more than one club, you can go through these club emails as well. Again, a lot of it is built in already, but you can edit some of it. And I think it's nice to try and match your branding. So if there's specific language that you guys use, or you have a tagline or something, you can edit some of that information. So that's really nice. Um, Let's go back here. Maybe we'll go to point of sale settings. So the point of sale, even if you don't use our point of sale yet, you might still want to go to this tab because it has some other functions that you might want to enable. Of course, we would love if you use our point of sale. It is free in your account. So even if you're not ready to fully use it, I do suggest maybe downloading it and kind of looking at it and see what we offer with it. It's very intuitive. It's available in the Apple iStore, the App Store. So you can get on an iPad or an iPhone, which is really nice if you do a lot of events. Maybe you go to farmers markets or something and you want to be able to process orders on your iPhone. It's a really handy thing to have. Um, so this is just kind of telling you, if you do have the point of sale, what devices that you have registered. If you have more than one location, let's say you have a tasting room, but then you have like a second location that you pour from, you can set the locations and that will be important for the tax code. So if they're in different zip codes or something and the tax might be a little different, you can set up those locations. The other thing that's from here that's nice, and this is even if you don't use the point of sale and you're only using our place an order function, you can enable tips from here. So you can turn on tips for the point of sale, of course, but also on place an order. So if somebody's right in front of you and you're using the web, you have an option of collecting a tip. If you don't want to be able to, ask for tips, you can turn that off too. And then the receipt is for just the point of sale. So you can kind of edit a little bit of the receipt. You could put your logo up here and you could put something cute as the footer. But this is kind of an example of what our receipts look like. Um, the next important thing, especially as you're just starting, is team members. So you will want to create, you can see in ours, we have a lot of team members, but we suggest having everybody that's going to be using be their own team member. We don't really suggest having a general email that everybody logs in on. A couple reasons for that is, you want to be able to see who's made changes to things and who placed the order for like the sales attribute. But also, unfortunately, sometimes we have some turnover, and if somebody doesn't work with you anymore, you don't necessarily want them to know all the login information. So it's nice to have a unique thing because let's say they do move on and they go somewhere else, you can remove them as a team member. It won't completely delete them, but it will deactivate them. So, um, brands, I'm going to skip past that. If you have multiple brands, this will be something you want to do. I don't think that's the most common thing, but if you do have multiple brands, you'll want to go over to brands and you can set up your different brands. Documents are going to be, Tara Jane, you might be able to speak better to this. These are documents from us or,
Yeah, this is really only for people that are managing licenses that carry licenses in different states. We can put their we can upload their licenses into this account so we can keep track of when they expire or if we need to do any actions around them.
yeah. And then integrations, I'll just briefly touch on this. So if you use, MailChimp is probably a real big one that people use. You can go ahead and come to integrations and you can connect your Vinoshipper account with MailChimp. This is really great because if you're adding a customer into Vinoshipper, then it'll automatically kind of feed to MailChimp. So you're not having to do double data entry, which we all know, saves time. It's really great. So if you do have a MailChimp account, that's one that I highly suggest doing. But we do have some other integrations. So you can just kind of pop over here and see if any of these apply to your business.
The two that I would recommend to anyone who has a tasting room is the Block 55 reservations so that you can keep track of your tastings and your events. And then also the SMS, like if I feel like if wineries aren't texting their club members at least, that you're leaving a lot on the table. It's a real great way to communicate with people. So I would encourage people to check out both of those.
Yeah, and the SMS one is this Vinteractive.
Mhm.
Yeah. And texting is the way of the future. You'll be amazed. I think a lot of people are hesitant to start, but you'll be amazed. You can get a lot of sales and also just updating your customers with, we have a new release or something like that. It's very valuable. So we suggest
I
doing
did
that.
just see in the questions somebody asking about Red Chirp, and I just want to mention that both Red Chirp and Clavio we have planned integrations with, so where they aren't active yet, but they hopefully will be by the end of the year. We were hoping for by Q2, but like construction, we're behind.
And then there's a
Yeah,
couple other questions while we're
Yeah.
into questions. Is there a fee to use the integrations?
There's no fee to use the integrations. MailChimp, obviously, with any other software that you're going to use, you have to pay for that software, but there's no, and none of them, there's a charge for the actual connection. For Block 55, I think the rate is like, I think it's $1 reservation or something like that, and there's a cap of $50 a month. For Vintner Active, there is a charge monthly to I guess that really is a charge for the connection, but so you're making the connection through Vintner Active, and that then you would also pay for a simple text account. And
yeah.
then MailChimp is free, but you would have to pay for whatever the MailChimp level you wanted to be on.
Yeah, I think it's based on like your audience size or something, right?
You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And then
Um,
a couple other questions. Sorry, we had a bunch come in just at the
Yeah.
beginning. Um, this one I answered in the chat, but can we customize the emails with images or just text? The emails can only be customized with text. And then there was also a question, when a customer places an order for pickup, is there a way to designate more than one location for pickup? So for example, if you have different tasting room locations.
you
That
mean,
is coming. We are going to be releasing multi-location inventory any Tuesday in the future now. So that's coming. It's being built right now, and I don't have a date of our release, but that is being built. So you will be able to designate which tasting room you'd want to pick up from, which is going to be really great for people.
Okay, and then a couple others. I'm interested in e-commerce to build my website. Do I use Whirlwind e-commerce?
Whirlwind is if you want to work with Shopify. We have three ways to connect with Shopify. We have a native Vinoshipper app where Whirlwind Commerce would be the partner that can connect that for you. We also work with Crush Suite. Crush Suite is another way to connect that connects inventory and taxes. And then we also work with Wine Hub, which is another Shopify app that helps wineries with club and loyalty and all of that and utilize us for compliance. So there's a couple different ways, but if you just want to do e-commerce, we work with a lot of different designers and developers that can build a website for you on WordPress or on Squarespace, and then it wouldn't be a Shopify shop, but you could check out through the Vinoshipper checkout. So there's a lot of different ways to go about it, and we do have a partners page that Adrian could probably send to you with recommendations of different developers. But if you're looking for a website designer, I would encourage you to talk to at least three and get quotes.
yeah.
And then one more integration question. Is there progress on the Sumsation integration?
Mm. So the SomStation is building that integration. Their estimate was Q3, so I will be checking in with them at some point in the next month, and I know they're working on it, so it's coming.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Perfect.
lots of things happening.
Always. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
We're always doing new things around here, which is really exciting.
Mhm.
Uh, all right, from here, we should probably go to the products tab. This is going to be obviously one of your most important things. So if you go to products and you go to product list, hopefully you've at least kind of started entering some products. If you haven't and you need, specific instructions, we definitely have those. We have that literature, but I'll just quickly show you kind of what it looks like. So we obviously already have some products listed here, but let's say I had nothing and I wanted to add a new product. We'd go ahead and do add product. And we're going to do a new product. So that'd be a single product. We do have a multi-pack option as well, but in this case, we'll just do a new product. The first thing is you got a category. So we have quite a few different categories. And this is really great because the taxonomy is built out for these different categories too. So it's really nice to really kind of take the time and put your products in the right category. It'll just help everything down the road. But I'll show you quickly how to do a packaged alcohol. So we're going to choose that. It's giving me the option of what kind of alcohol. I'll just do a wine. The first thing it's going to ask is the broad type of wine. So red, white, rosé. I'm going to click red, submit. And then you're just going to work your way down the form. It's pretty self-explanatory. You're going to add an image, your vintage, your product name. The one thing I do want to mention is a SKU. So if you have like a partner an API partner or a fulfillment partner, and you have a SKU with them, you want to be sure your SKU matches exactly. Same with UPC. If you use barcodes, be sure that that matches exactly. The other thing is the TTB label ID. So if your product's over 7% alcohol, you are required to have a TTB registration and a COLA number. We want to make sure that matches exactly too, because whenever you add a new product, we go ahead and check that based on the TTB. So we just want to make sure that that's really a registered product. And if you put the wrong number, it'll just slow down getting that product approved. Um, but the rest is going to be just kind of general information about your product, label info, container. This again is kind of important to make sure you get this accurate because it has to do with weight and shipping cost. And then your inventory, this will be, what you have set to sell in Vinoshipper. And the almost sold out threshold, this is kind of a fun marketing thing to do. So let's say if you get down to your last, I don't know, 24 bottles, you want a banner to pop up on your website saying almost sold out so that your customers know, like, hey, you need to buy it now. I think that's kind of a nice thing to do. And you can choose what your threshold is for that. Um, but otherwise, you'll just go through and kind of fill out the fields that make sense for you. If you have any awards, it's really cool to put that. Customers love to see an award. And then you would go ahead and click save. And from there, your product will be in like a pending state. We will just check again that COLA number and then we'll get it approved. It typically takes a day. We're pretty fast about getting products approved. Let me hit cancel so I can back out of here. But then you'll start seeing that as you start entering products, you have your product list. You can filter it by category. So if you want to only see, let's say, your tasting fees or something. And this is a nice thing to kind of every once in a while come in and manage and just make sure that, you're up to date, your inventories are correct, things like that. So I think it's a nice place to sort of start really getting familiar with our system. Shipping, if we go back to products, shipping and packaging, this is a good place to, I think in the beginning, it's really nice to kind of go through step by step and see what like applies to your business and what parameters you want to set for your business. I think in the majority of time for shipping, for example, you'll have UPS ground as an option. And then maybe you want second day or next day or also as an option for your customers. Some people come in here and they edit it in the summer and they turn off ground because it's hot and the less returns and damages you get, the better. So a customer might be like, oh, I only have next day air as an option. But once they realize that that's saving their product from being ruined, I mean, most people,
We
they,
also do have special rates for next day, and so we actually, as of last year, don't turn those off for the winter. So they run all year, and so I would encourage people to always check. Like sometimes you might think that second day or one day or whatever is going to be more expensive, but actually next day often for us is the cheapest because we've worked hard to negotiate a really great next day air rate. So just a heads up to new producers, like definitely you take a look and utilize that next day air rate because it often is cheaper than the 1 or 2 day.
yeah. Yes. And then minimum order quantity, if you want to set a minimum order quantity for shipping, like if you don't want to allow somebody to just ship one bottle, um, I personally think you probably the average would be putting no minimum just because, a sale is a sale is a sale at this point. But you have the option of setting those parameters. And again, if your customer is paying the shipping, then it's kind of like whatever if they want to do that. Um, and then local delivery. I would think most people have this turned off, but let's say you live in a small town and there's, you know, some hotels that you'd be willing to actually drop off to. You can allow local delivery and you can put in your conditions. So, within a 10-mile radius or something like that. And you can also charge a delivery fee if you want to do that. So again, just if it makes sense for your business and where you're located. Um, and then any edits you do on this page, you would have to go down here and click save down here. Pickup orders. This is another one. If you have a tasting room, you definitely want to allow pickup orders. But if you're in like a remote thing, maybe you don't allow pickup orders, you turn that off. Your packing slip note. We always, always, always need to have a packing slip and a shipment. It's just for two reasons. It's kind of covers you, and also the customers often don't even remember what they ordered. So if you put the packing slip in, there's no question of that is what they ordered. And then you can put in a little note. So, thank you or cheers or whatever. And then a packaging fee. I've actually found this to become a bit more popular. Producers, we have to, you have to pay for your own boxes and shipping materials. So you could charge a packaging fee. I've seen it a little more common lately that people will charge just like $5 to kind of try and recoup some of that. So that's again something you can decide if it makes sense for you. But I don't think it's a negative. I think people at this point are very used to paying for shipping and packaging, and I don't think it's something you need to be turned off on. And um, this is a little more high level. If you have very different products, so if you have wine and you also have wine that's maybe in a can or something, and you want to set kind of your parameters for how that's shipped, you can go ahead and do that here. Um, Otherwise, if you don't set that, you'll get one label for everything that's in that box, for example. So, any questions on shipping? Because I know people often have questions.
Sorry, I was on mute. We have a few questions about both products and shipping. One, just starting with the products questions. The
Mhm.
first question is when will merchandise be able to be selected by size, so variants?
Uh,
Very soonish. We talk
yeah,
about it all the time.
that's also being built right now, and we'll probably release just before multi-inventory location. So that's close.
Yeah. Our CEO asks about it pretty much every other day, so it's
Yeah.
definitely on our radar.
Yeah, we're just as enthusiastic as you guys are about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, Another question, does Vinoshipper have gift cards we can use when customers purchase one that can either be sent or email to the recipient?
Yes. So if you go to add a new product, you can add a gift card or a certificate. Um, I believe maybe you can speak to this. I think you have to set prices, right? It's
You can, yeah, you set a price and you can always adjust it. So online it might be, 20 bucks or whatever, but you always can adjust it. The other bit with Vinoshipper and gift cards is that when the person purchases it as the producer, you do still need to go into the recipient's account and set that credit. So it doesn't automatically set the credit. So there is an extra layer of a step that currently the producer has to do. So if somebody buys a gift card for someone, somebody on your team does need to go into that recipient's account and add that stored credit for them to be able to use.
okay.
Perfect, thank you. And then what is the difference between price and MSRP?
So I look at this as kind of, again, like almost a marketing thing. Some people like to set their price as, let's say, $50 for a bottle of wine, but they put the MSRP at, excuse me, like 65. So then when on the website, the MSRP shows and it's slashed out, and then it shows the price that you're selling it for. I think the majority of people set them as the same. But if you want to look like we're giving a discount without having to like really build out a discount, I guess that would be one way to do it. I don't think it's really the common way, but again, I mean, it's your business. If you think that that might work, might be worth a shot. I mean, I don't know.
It's also used if people do a lot of wholesale.
Hmm.
That's the price that you're suggesting to the wholesalers to sell your wine at. So it can be useful if you want to make a justification for, going to your distributor and saying like, hey, you're selling my wine for lower than what it's supposed to be sold for, which a lot of wineries that do a lot of wholesale have that battle with with distributors and with some online retailers.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. I never think about wholesale anymore because I'm in the
Yeah.
DTC world, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
And then, Melissa, we have a couple shipping questions. One is we're getting tons of calls about shipping price increases. Nothing we can do, but wondering if others like are hearing the same complaints.
I mean, yeah, UPS, FedEx, all of them. I mean, they're not getting cheaper. So I will say, on our end, we negotiate heavily for new rates twice a year, and we do everything we can to keep the rates as low as possible. It helps that we have so many producers using our UPS. But that said, like, I mean, it doesn't go down, and that is a tough thing to stomach. And my recommendation would be build it into your COGS so that your price of your wine might have to go up a little bit to reflect the price of the shipping, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not I mean, we could have a whole class on just complaining about UPS, I feel like, but yeah, I feel you, man.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's not just in the wine industry.
Yeah.
It's wide, furniture, everything, anything you order now, it's just the shipping is ridiculous. So we understand, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do try to
Not
keep
fun.
the rates as low as possible.
Mhm.
So yeah.
We have one other one, and it's if you turn off allow pickup orders, does that apply to club orders as well? I'd like to allow my club members to pick up releases, but not allow for one-off orders.
I think that's built out in the release.
Mhm.
So I
Yes.
believe you can turn off allow pickup orders as like your standard. And then when you create a release, I believe you have the option. Let's just quickly check. I believe you can choose there. Update. Because you can ignore this if you not allow pickups. Yeah, so you can put in a pickup date. And it says ignore this if you do not allow pickups, but you can put, I believe, yeah.
I think if you put that you don't allow pickups, but then you do put a pickup date that it allows the pickup date for the release for the club, and you still don't, because if you allow local pickups, that is for really it directs it to the website. So like somebody checking out online could select a pickup. You always like if you have a tasting room or you're using the POS, you can always do pickup orders on that. So it really that setting is for your e-commerce for if somebody's checking out online.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, that is the end of my questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Those are good questions.
Yeah. Um, I want to show quickly, and this is something we've been talking about maybe doing a little differently, but oftentimes people want to know kind of an estimate of the shipping costs. So the workflow on this right now, and Tara Jane and I were talking about it yesterday. We think we can improve this workflow, but as of right now, if you want to just a customer's like, how much is it going to cost to ship from, wherever you are to, let's say, like Florida or something, you can come to products and go to discounts and fees, and then you can click test. And what this will do is this will allow you can go ahead and put in the customer's address. And I'll just like quickly show. So then you can add some products. Let's say they want to say like, how much would it cost to add 6 bottles or ship 6 bottles to, um, I didn't put an address. Let's see if it'll still let me test it. There we go. So you can click test and it'll show you kind of what the price is. Now you can see here, this is slashed out. We must have a discount set up. Yeah, $25 shipping on 6 bottles. So that is something you could do too if you're really worried about the shipping cost. But something to mention is that you will be eating that. So I don't really think you need to discount shipping, but if it's something that you find your customers are really complaining about and you want to do that, you can go ahead and do a shipping discount. Just like Tara Jane mentioned, you might want to build that into your COGS to kind of make up for that. But this is a nice way to kind of get an idea of, what it's going to cost to ship. You'll see here 3-day select is 83.97, and as Tara Jane mentioned, UPS next day air is 83.53. So sometimes next day air is actually cheaper or even the same price as doing 3 day. So it is worth looking when you're processing an order, kind of going through the different options and seeing what, is the most value for your customer. But right now, this is kind of the only way to do a shipping estimate. So,
Unless you're on the POS, I do want to add that we did just add into the POS, which is so cool. And we're not going to share it on the screen, but if you are in your POS and you are in your cart and you just add a couple products to the cart, in the shipping line, there's a test shipping and the exact same thing pretty much pops up. So as they're in the cart, before you get to the checkout page, you can easily see what they're shipping estimate would be for each of them, and then give the customer the option to pick when they're standing in front of you, which is that's such a cool feature on the POS.
yeah, I think it says like shipping rates or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's really nice. So yeah, so that's a way to test the shipping estimate, but hopefully soon we'll be able to kind of make that a little bit of an easier workflow. Um, let's see, products, catalogs. So this is great again if you're using the point of sale, and you want to have, you have your main catalog that has all your products, let's say every single thing you've ever made. But say that there's only certain products that you actually um, typically like pour or that people might actually purchase in the tasting room. You can add those products to a catalog, and you click add product here. And so you could put like your most used, or if it's like your current menu, what you're currently pouring, you can add them to a specific catalog. So then when you're on the point of sale, you can kind of filter which catalog you're looking at. Again, let's say you're doing an event and you're only going to be pouring 2 SKUs or something. Rather than having to search through your whole catalog, you could make a catalog for that event, and then they would be the only 2 things that you saw. So it's just to make it more efficient when you're like in the moment pouring at the event.
On the
Uh,
POS, you also can always switch between catalogs. So even if this is your default catalog that's only showing, whatever's at that event, it's not like you can't get to the rest of your products. They're always available. Another way that I find catalogs to be really helpful is for your website. And so being able to create, like I looked at a website the other day where the person had put like red, white, sparkling, and merch. And then depending on which one you clicked, that would populate that catalog below. And I thought that looked really slick. Also, if you want to ever do like a sale and you're saying like, oh, we're featuring just this, multi-pack, for example, and you want to have a landing page, so you could drop just that catalog that's like, maybe it's a gift pack and it's another multi-pack of a 6-pack, and then, whatever else, you can just create that on a page. So anywhere on your website that you would drop the main catalog, you can drop any other catalog. So it lets you really have a lot of creativity with your website.
Maybe we should quickly talk about multi-packs, especially now that we're going into like O&D.
Holidays, yeah.
Yeah. Um, so as a concept, multi-packs can work many different ways. If there's products that you always want to be sold together, you can create a multi-pack. If you want to create a multi-pack for a specific reason, so as we're going into the holidays, maybe you have like your 3 most popular wines or something, or um, wines that go really well with like Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas, or, whatever makes sense for you. But you
We
can,
also have a lot of people who use cans and then they put like a 6-pack, if you want to sell it as a 6-pack, but we have to report every can. So you can have a product that's each can, but then you actually only have on your web store, for example, you only sell it as a 6-pack. That would still be a multi-pack. So one item.
yeah. So, So to create one, you would go to products, product list, add product, and instead of doing new product, we would do new multi-pack. So you could name it, holiday bundle, let's say. And you could describe it and say, our three greatest wines for your holiday meal or something. Um, and then you could set your inventory, the price on that. You could exclude it from discounts if you would like to. But here's kind of your real important settings here is your pack contents. So you would go to add product and it'll pull up all your products and you can go ahead and choose. So I'm just going to do the top three real quick for speed's sake. So let's say I'm making a 3-pack of those. So what I can do from here is I can adjust the quantity. So if I want, it to be one of each, or let's say I'm doing a 6-pack and I'm doing two of each, I can do that. I can adjust the price. Tara Jane, you might have an idea. So if you want to say these three wines are selling for 125 each, but I wanted to do the multi-pack at like, a little bit of a lesser price, we would adjust that price here, or do you think
You
is it
can do it here, or you can also do it as a discount. It kind of depends on, I would ask your CFO or whoever does your taxes, which one they prefer. But yeah, you can set it here. And the bonus of setting it here is that that's just the price of the pack. So then say you have the 6-pack and you take everything down a little bit this way, the price of the multi-pack just shows as the price of the multi-pack, and you don't have to get to a place where a discount is applied. So I think as like the end user, the consumer, being able to see what that price is online, you would just see this is the price. So if you made, that was a 6-pack and you made them all $100, it would just be the $600. Versus if you did it as a discount, that discount doesn't apply until they're in the cart. And so I think like for consumer brain process, like it might be better to just see it as the number. But again, that's totally up to the business and up to like how how you want to see it on your P&L, if you want to see it as a discount here or there.
and you are not you don't have to only do alcohol. So as we're going into the holidays, maybe you want to do a bottle of wine with, I don't know, say you have like a really cute apron or a thing of jam that you guys sell. You can create a multi-pack that does not just have to be alcohol. You could do a nice little bundle of merch. So keep that in mind. You can kind of mix and match what you put into that multi-pack. And I think it's a very, very smart thing to do for the holidays, especially for gifting.
Mhm.
I wonder if anyone has any questions on multi-packs because it's often asked.
There's just a few questions in general, but I don't believe anything to do with multi-packs right now. But there was a question about catalogs, which is can you have a wholesale catalog versus a retail catalog?
Sure, you can have whatever catalogs you want. If you are in California and you're doing direct to trade, so like selling to a restaurant, for example, you could give that restaurant the catalog list and have a different price set for them. For wholesale, they would automatically get the discount. So like in California, we generally do 33% or 30% or whatever. And so if that wholesale customer was logged in and looking at that, they would see in their cart, they would see the discounted rate of wholesale. If you're in a state where you can't do direct to trade, obviously that doesn't apply to you, but in California we can.
Perfect, thank you. And then also, I would like to take telephone or email orders. Where would I enter all the addresses, product, and credit card information into Vinoshipper to make it easier for customers? Um, it would only be for DTC. How would I do that? Seems like POS would not be the right place.
So from place an order, if you were on the phone, so that's a perfect segue to go to the place an order function. So, what? Why does it want me to leave the site?
Oh, I
Because
think,
you're filling out a form.
yeah, you can just press leave.
Oh,
It'll just
there
leave
we
that.
go. Thank you, guys. I was like, what's happening? There we go. All right. So if you're in the place an order function, so let's say you have someone on the phone and they want to place an order with you, you're going to go to orders, place an order. It's going to bring you here. This is my main catalog that I can see, but I could also switch through my different catalogs here or my different product types. But let's just say, I'm on the phone and I'm going to let's just add a couple cabs. You can change the quantity over in the cart here, or you can also just push it more times. So either function works. Um, but from there, you can do customer lookup if you already have their information in, or you can go ahead and add a customer. And so that would be in the next screen. If you also from here, if you have club memberships already built out, you could add them to a club easily.
You can
But
also
let's
adjust the discount from that page if you like as well.
Oh yeah, you can adjust the discount here. But let's say we don't have them in our system yet. So right now this is considered like a guest cart. If we go to checkout, from there it's going to ask me the customer's information. And then once you've filled out this customer information, they automatically go into your customer list. So you're not having to, add it here and then go back and add them again. Anytime you add a customer, it's just automatically saved. So you could do continue as guest if it was somebody that's just walking in. But I suggest you try and always get everyone's information. I mean, unless you're completely slammed with a line out the door, I think it's worth taking, the 10, 15 seconds to get their information, especially their email. You want to be able to send them more marketing information like through MailChimp or something. So I definitely suggest trying to get somebody's information as much as you can. Um, I'm just going to make something up real quick. And Annie, what a wonderful. But the email is very important because once they become your customer, let's say they're in and they, try their wine and it's great. But once they have their email in your system, when they go ahead and put their email, if they go on your website, the first thing it asks is their email. It's going to automatically recognize that email and trigger that to that customer. So then you'll have their purchase history and whatnot. So I definitely suggest trying to collect that information. Um, but then from here, we would fill out, and then if from here, it would ask if we're going to be shipping or if it was a pickup order. So you can use the place an order function for either thing. Um, let's just do quick so you can see the next page. It's going to ask you that you verified the customer's date of birth. So then it's going to ask you shipping. So if they're taking it with them, you'll do customer will pick up. But if not, you can go ahead and enter their shipping information here. It'll save that again to their profile. And then from there, it'll go to the checkout page. And then you've got the option of running their credit card by either entering the card in, or if they want to pay cash, you can go ahead and do that from there as well. So the place and order function is really nice for either on the phone or if they're right in front of you. Um, and on the back end from the website, when they're filling out, it's pretty similar flow. So they will put in their information and then it'll ask them to confirm their shipping and then it'll check out. So it's a pretty similar flow. But a question that we get a lot is what happens when somebody places an order online? Like, how do I know and what do I do once I get an order? So, in the beginning, when we talked about the email addresses and the notifications, that's where you'll set who's going to get those new order emails. But from there, if you've got some open shipments, you're going to go to orders and you're going to go to open shipments. So you can see I actually placed some orders yesterday so I could demo this for you. These are my orders. I have a couple different options of how I can do this. So let's say you have, you don't store your product on site and you need to go and pick it up to get it ready to ship. Something you can do is go ahead and put a little check mark on the orders that you want to fulfill, and you could click required inventory. I think this is a really cool step, especially if, like I said, you're storing your wine at a different location and you need to go get it. You can get the required inventory. It'll download for you and show you what you need to go pick up. So you could take that with you and make sure you get everything you need for your orders. Um, you can also print the labels for the orders here. If you click print labels, it'll print the packing slip and the UPS label. But you also have the option here of doing either or. So let's say you just want to print the packing slip for now because you want to get prepared, but you're not ready to print the UPS label. You could do them individually over here. But print labels will go ahead and print both items for so then what you'll do is you'll print your labels. I'm going to see if so it says generate shipping labels and packing slips for 2 shipments. I can go ahead and hit create. It will print in progress. It might back me out because I'm in staging, but we'll see. All right, so print complete. I can see my shipping labels or my packing slips, say one rips or something, I need to reprint it. You can do that. And then from there, you'll go ahead and pack up your shipment and, have either UPS pick up from you. You'll see if I go back now to open shipments. Oh, return to order list. That's probably the better way. I don't see those orders anymore because I have printed them, and so they're not considered open anymore. I can click request UPS pickup. But again, that address in the beginning that we talked about, the pickup address, you want to make sure that you have that correct, because if you click request UPS pickup, it's going to go to the address that you have set as your pickup address. You want to just make sure you have all that correct. But what if you're like, okay, I printed it, but I still want to see the orders? Like sometimes people get nervous that it's gone. They're not gone. Now they'll be in your all orders. And so these are all of my orders, and these are the 2 that I just did here. So you can see UPS label created. And then once the UPS picks up and scans the shipment, then the tracking email will be automatically generated to the customer, giving them their tracking information. So that is kind of the flow of a shipping order. But a pickup order, so let's say somebody placed an order and they want to pick it up, that'll be under open pickups. So I can see here, oh, Tara, you're the one who's picking up an order. You're so lucky. So we can click on the order number and we can see what's in the order. We can print the packing slip. So again, let's say I need to go down to my seller and pull the order. I print the packing slip. I can also print a receipt for her. So I have that ready when she comes in to pick it up. And then you could also modify the order from here. You could cancel the order. You could mark the order as picked up. You could edit the order a little. It's very, very, very important that you mark the order as picked up once it is picked up. That is something that oftentimes people forget to mark it as picked up, and it's really best practice to automatically mark it as picked up when the customer gets it. So it's something I really suggest. You don't want to have a list of open pickups and you're like, I really think some of these have been picked up, so you want to make sure you're really on top of that. But yeah. Oh, actually, let me show that order again really quick. There is also this little button here that I can mark it as picked up, and it'll no longer be an open shipment or an open pickup. And then your all orders list, again, these will just be all of your orders that you've had. It'll show you your different types. So whether you're using the point of sale, if you're on the mobile app, I believe place an order shows as point of sale. Yeah, it does, because I did these in the place an order. So they show as point of sale as well.
Melissa, one question on these. How can you find an order if someone needs a refund and they did not enter their email or name? Can you look up by the last four digits of credit card? So this would be like for the guest customers.
Hmm.
You
Uh,
can't look up by credit card. You would want to look up you would just look up the get like all orders and you would find the guest orders. This is a tricky one, and we have been talking about this for the POS of how to find orders that are on guest. Um, there's not a super smooth way to do it. It would really just be looking at all the guest orders and like just trying to find maybe the going by the price. Um, again, like a good reason to get people's emails, or at least their name or something. Um, if it's just shipped order, it has to have somebody. So it would just be pickup orders, and hopefully the pickup orders, you don't have a lot of refunds as they're walking out.
This is another great plug for our point of sale. So, our point of sale system, it has a scan ID function. And so the workflow to get a customer's name and email, not their email address, sorry. Too bad they don't have their email address on there. That'd be great.
Okay.
But you can scan the back of their license and it'll populate with their name, their address, just what's on the driver's license. You might have to confirm because sometimes someone's shipping address might be different. Say they ship to their business or something, but you can at least capture that info pretty quickly so that you've got something in your system. Um, so I really love the scan ID function. I mean, it's just like immediate. It's pretty fascinating. So that's another good plug for the point of sale because then you can really capture information. I hate having a guest customer. I mean, I know there is cases when it's needed, but in today's world, you want to capture their information. It's so, so, so valuable. I mean, really, their phone number for the text marketing, their email address for the email marketing, and also just purchase history. If a guest customer comes in like 5 times and you've never entered their information, there's no way for you to know, like, hey, they love this wine of ours, or, you can add notes about their birthday or they've got a adorable dog. Let's give them a bone. Like, there's so many, it sounds so silly, but those personal things are what make you different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't like to have a guest customer. I just don't think I don't suggest it, but I understand there's times when, but
Melissa, I've got one other question which kind of goes with the orders and the POS. Maria asked for pickup orders in the tasting room. How do wineries manage marking off the pickups? Does the tasting room staff have access to Vinoshipper, or can the POS be used for this even if the order was not placed through the POS?
Yes.
yeah, because they can go in and search a customer and they'll be able to see any open pickups that that customer has, and they can mark it as picked up that way. So they don't necessarily have to have like full, access to your back end on your web. But from the point of sale, they can see if they look up the customer, any open shipments or not open shipments, open pickups. So, yeah, I think that's a great thing for your tasting room staff to do for you is,
Yeah.
and it's a great opportunity to upsell, like
Yep.
what else can I add to your pickup? Mm. Okay, I know we're getting low on time. I want to quickly show our help function. So, the what's new is going to be our newsletters and our classes and events. We have basically a version of a sort of class almost every Thursday at 10 a.m. We go back at the beginning of every month is the platform tour like we did today. So if you have, say, new team members, you could have them join us just to kind of get an overview or something. And then we kind of dive into deeper subjects. So we'll do like a club class or a point of sale class. And then we have a office hours where we just sit and wait on Zoom and you can hop on and ask us specific questions for your business. So that's a really nice thing. Um, Also from here is our knowledge base. Our knowledge base is me and Adrian's baby. So we go on here and update and try and make sure we have an article for almost any scenario. Instead of having to search through the whole thing, you can just put in a search term here. So, let's say you've got a question about shipping, you can start putting in shipping and you can see our different articles here. Really love to utilize this. We want you to feel empowered to use the system. And it's not just step by step. We do have step by step instructions, but then we also have these scribes where it's kind of picture instructions. So if you're more visual, you can see, the steps that way. And yeah, we spend a lot of time trying to make sure this is up to date and has kind of almost everything in here. It's like our little Bible resource. So yeah. Um, any other thoughts that I might have missed?
There's no other questions. I think you covered
Our
quite a
next
bit.
crush course,
What?
tell them our next crush course.
Oh yeah, so our next crush course is on August 28th, and we are going to be joined by Michelle Ewert, who is a marketing genius in the alcohol space. She's worked with many, many wineries and cider companies and sake companies. So we will be kind of talking about preparing for the end of the year. Kind of what a marketing calendar should look like for you, things that you should be doing, like offering corporate gifting and some ideas for email campaigns. She's a great, great idea person. So, yeah, that'll be our next crush course that we're all really excited about. So,
Awesome.
well, thank you all for joining us. If you have any specific questions that you didn't want to put into the chat, feel free to email us at customerservice@Vinoshipper, and we're happy to help you. And I hope this was
I do
helpful.
see one last comment for Pecos Davis.
Mhm.
I want to point out, like, if you are looking at our UPS rate and you're looking at the UPS rate online, several things. One is you have to make sure you're looking at alcohol. Shipping alcohol gets a different rate than non-alcohol. Our all of our UPS rates, our shipments are all self-insured. So if you had a reroute is about $30. We cover that. If you have any damages, we cover all damages, no questions asked. If you get a damage on UPS, you will never see that money again. We cover everything for customer service. And so there's a lot of pieces that go into how we build our UPS rates. But if you have a specific question about your UPS rate and you're seeing something that's a discrepancy, we would definitely encourage you to reach out to us at customer service at vinoshipper.com.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Yeah.
rates that they advertise are typically not really what we do. It's not alcohol and it's going by, yeah, it's like you're sending a
There's a
box.
lot of additionals that UPS adds in that are so the rate that you pay when you see our UPS rate, that's it. That's all you'll ever pay. And I just was looking at a customer's UPS bill, and like the amount of incidentals that they had was like tons of extra purchases for like extended delivery addresses, and the reroutes are ridiculous. And I mean, good no we all know there's a lot of damages. So having that insurance is a tiny cost that we add on, but it adds a lot of security for shipments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Melissa, so much for doing this. Thank you, Adrian.
First, thank you
Thank
both.
thank you everyone for coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Have a great day.